Hey, what's up, and welcome to my corner of the internet. So before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe. That would be much appreciated. Thank you. So I have one question for you. If you could go back in time, who would you save? Now, that's a pretty deep question. This is a question that is brought up in a lot of different anime that have come about throughout the years, and one such anime that I just finished brought a really interesting question, and I enjoyed how we got to it and how the story was resolved. And it's something that's been out a very long time, but I just now got to it. So here we are. Yes, I have finally watched Erased. Back by me just randomly deciding that I'm going to watch Erased this week. This is one of those animes that a lot of people have in their favorites, or people that I know have watched it. It seems like a very approachable anime that people enjoy. Also, I'm going to put all the things on the screen. This is written by and illustrated by K. I'm not going to say that because, you know, we butcher things around here. This is suspense, detective, mystery, thriller. This is a 12-episode anime that wraps up pretty nicely. This is a thriller. Every episode has the edge of your seat trying to figure out who did it, what's going on, and what's going to happen next. And the narrative of the story, our main character, Satoru, is inquisitive, curious, and he tries his best to be a superhero. And our mystery is based upon two murders. One that happens in the present, unfortunately, to the character's mother, and another that happens to several characters in our main character's past that he pretty much forgets. And the story is set off by this extreme loss that gets us so close to the answer of who the killer is, but then it just randomly puts us back just before our main character is framed and put into jail over a death that he had no real part in. He just happened to be there for. The anime is a wild ride of questions and moments where characters need reassurance. They need to be collectively helped, and Satoru oftentimes has to see people die, make mistakes, go back in time, and recognize that he has to make better choices so that everyone can be happy within this story. The story is solid, the animation is there. It's not necessarily action-packed, but it has something for you to hold on to each episode. I wasn't necessarily bored while watching this. I actually had a great time, and I was intrigued on the mystery and guessing and using some of the clues that were there and the subtle things that weren't necessarily needed to be explained. They just kind of happened on screen, and it was your job to pay enough attention to actually see it. The anime did a very great job of not over-explaining damn near everything. Though I felt as though it kind of fell apart towards the end, and low-key I felt as though it was a little too easy to foil the main villain, personally. Now, that's something I'm going to talk about a little bit later. Erased is a good anime. I just want to put that out there, and I see why so many people enjoy it, and I see why it holds the place that it does. It's an anime that has the ability to tell a story. It's succinct, it knows itself, it knows the story that it wants to tell, and our main character is funny. He has a way with words. He has a very deliberate thought process, and he very often than not will say things that he thinks out loud, and it'll create embarrassing moments. There's heartfelt, emotional moments. There's characters that are supportive. There's moments where we're talking about everyone feeling better and a lack of bullying that separates each and every one of us. This anime is pretty solid in the way that it does that. I had a good time seeing our main character recognize that characters are being left out and then they become targeted. There's this weaving web of someone's being framed in the past while he's going to be framed in the future present. And then there's also different characters that died, characters that he didn't even know, but he has to save them because it's all connected in some sort of way. And he is audacious, though I wished he would just like punch somebody, but I realize in that society you can't just randomly punch people. That's just my like Americanized brain that's just like, listen, punch him. And then oftentimes I was a little confused at the trust of adults. That was a little much for me. That's just me personally. Like, I was way more skeptical of adults and people. And I don't necessarily know if this happened in my life, if I would be able to be as successful as Satoru. He is caring. He is oftentimes charismatic, and he has this ability to...
貧乏だろうが空腹だろうが、ひなずきが人のもん取るわけねえだろうが。
To help people change their lives and be honest about his goals. And also he has very supportive friends. Jesus Christ, the support that he gets from his mother, the support he gets in this story is like incredible. So the entire story is fun, and you're guessing who's who did what's going on, and it's actually, I don't know, this brings me to the ending. Our main villain is a bit of a creep, and a creep in just creepy, and you're kind of confused on his reasoning and why he does things. I feel like this is where the anime kind of fell apart. It kind of felt like it went to the point where our villain is just simply just a villain and less of a reason because of, I don't know, some history and stuff like that. But he does whatever he does, and then the story gets to this place where you are wondering how it's all going to unfold because of the great sacrifice Satoru makes towards the end. Changes the story, and we sit back to the present where, you know, things are as they kind of should be. And then, you know, we have a moment where we finally see our villain. The anime does this very oddly, at least in my head, because I feel like there should be a little bit more fire. There's this weird moment of like connection that comes about that I was just genuinely confused about, especially as this person is like murdering like children and like has been plotting to destroy others and wreaks havoc all over. But it gets a little weird. But I guess it's just one of those animes that's anime. And I had a good time. And I was super excited to watch this. So if you've never seen Erased, this is definitely worth your time. I just wish there was a little bit more teeth to it. And I wish the main villain wasn't so easy to foil. I wish there was a little bit more going on and more possible to happen. But then again, I'm just used to a certain more like violence in some of my shows like this. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. Take care and be well. And also, I rate Erased basically a 3 out of 5. Peace.